Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the garden on this rather beautiful day. Can you tell in the back? Clear blue skies, not a single cloud inside. Absolutely wonderful and glorious. Same weather forecast for tomorrow, so obviously two amazing days to get out and do something in the garden. Alfie and I see she's just sniffing on something, inspecting. I don't know what she's doing. We just came back from our morning walk and we decided to walk by the river because on one side you have the forest, on the other side you have the river, and then behind the river the sun goes up. So it's really wonderful, sheltered and protected. And the sun already feels nice and warm, which was so lovely. You have no idea. After never ending days of just grim grey skies, and eventually the sun was poking through, just like to walk there and then sit for a while on a bench, close your eyes, and just enjoy the sun on the skin. And it's already warming. That was wonderful. And there is this momentum of like it starts smelling like spring a little bit, like spring is on its way, and that makes me so happy. Wonderful, wonderful start into the day. And obviously, I'm going to spend the day with you in the garden today. And you can tell in my back already what I want to tackle today. You see an ocean of brown and dead material there. So this is a big perennial border that I started last year. Couldn't be happier with that, but now is a good time to really get in there and strip everything back to the bare bones, literally. Because I can tell you some of the first bulbs starting to poke through, and at one point it's very difficult to be on your tippy toes and try and cut back everything when you have spring bulbs everywhere in between there. So this is number one, why it's good. Number two, there is not a lot of like cold days in the forecast anymore, like the eventual frost at night, but that's it. No harsh, deep winter temperatures anymore. And I can see that some of the perennials start already coming with fresh growth, so it is definitely a good time to do it now. It's 2 weeks earlier to what I would normally do it, but if it's a mild year, a mild winter, and an early spring, I can live with that. I'm happy as Larry. So what I want to do is just flip the phone, talk you through the area, and just explain you what I want to do. And as always, it's like this is like what I'm going to show you is how I tackle this and how I prune back. Every gardener has its own method, and I would just always say like you need to figure what works best for you, because this is like what makes you feel good and comfortable with this. This is what I'm going to show you, just how I do it basically. So I hope you're excited about today's video. On a glance, this is how it looks. You can tell to my right there is island bed, and I already started stripping back a little bit at the front, and you can tell, oh my, the mole active here and there and everywhere basically. I can point everywhere. The soil is frozen, but that mole, I'm telling you, I'm sure that that thing can dig through concrete. I'm not going to tackle the island bed today at all because cutting back really takes some time, and I know just by the amount of perennials that I want to cut back today, this is definitely going to take me busy for quite some time. So what we're having here is just a mix of big drifts basically. Here in the front row there's some Nepeta, and you can tell after all the snow and the moisture, things just start to collapse basically. They're not standing upright at all. They're pretty much flattened by now. So it is definitely good to get in here and just strip everything back to make space for all the fresh growth. Here are asters. If I continue walking, there's some panacetum, which is actually, I like to cut back panacetum because they're quite easy. In general, most of the grasses are easy. Miscanthus is also well easy. Some annuals are in there, so those are the easiest ones to remove. Here is a big patch of sedum. I hope you get to see everything with the sun out, because I know when it's an overcast day, it might not look so pretty, but it's easier to look at things because there's no sun flare and nothing. So these are the sedums. They are still upright, which is nice. And I could leave them in theory, but if you look at the base, you can tell there are fresh rosettes forming. So this is all the new fresh growth. And now with milder temperatures, this is going to go quite fast, I believe. Or I know, actually. So it is definitely better to do it now, because if you wait too long, it's a little finicky to get in there and just really cut it back. Then another big drift of asters. Asters are lovely and easy to cut back, I can tell you that. Here, oh, here's my shader first. Hello, good morning. Here are Bistorta, and they looked so wonderful really late into the year, but now you can tell they're just like a big blob of mushy brown, not nice at all. Mushy means it might start to rot, and that is not good, obviously. So this is something that definitely should need to be removed and just expose everything which is waiting there, everything that's just waiting to burst out into life. Here are my Rudbeckia. I am so excited to see if they will come back. This is Rudbeckia Cherry Brandy, and I am in a climate zone 7B. I'm a little bit in the microclimate here in the Great Bay of Gdansk. And Rudbeckia Cherry Brandy, they can survive winter, but it's a little iffy. Like this, oh, no, they were shaky. Here is one where I see leaves look green and look quite nice. There are others where I feel they just look dead. I'm still going to cut them back and see, and fingers crossed that they might have survived and they might have made it. So yeah, this is the entire area that I'm going to tackle today. Together with my little garden assistant, she runs away. She knows that I'm going to work, and she's like, no, I'm not feeling it. I'm going to play. So this is everything that I'm going to tackle, and I'm going to show you with some of the plants how I'm going to do it. Let me just take you to the back of the garden, because obviously what I'm cutting back today, that is just one portion of everything that I'm going to cut back. The entire front garden is still waiting. The island bed is still waiting here. So there is a lot of material in general that I have and that I could utilize. Obviously we have a big compost heap at the back, but this year I'm going to use it a little different because I have two projects going on. And there's, I think, a good way on how I can utilize it. So we're just on our way to the back at the slope. Going to flip the phone and show you how I use it. For those of you who follow my channel and my videos already for quite a while, you know that this is the right side of the slope, and this is an area that I started to transform recently. Building these terraces here, and I want to use it for all my fruit and vegetable growing this year. And there is a video dedicated, I think 1 or 2 videos dedicated to how I transform it, and also how I build these terraces here, like how I put the support system in, level everything out, prepare the soil. And I also prepared now the last layer here, so I put the support system in there, already filled it with a lot of grasses and some hardwood cuttings, and I intend on putting more of the perennial cuttings in there as well, and then fill it up with more soil, because this kind of works like a massive huge raised bed actually. So this is where I will leave some of my cuttings this year, and the other half, or how much ever I have left, will go behind. There's a dead hedge there, and behind it, this is where I strip back quite a lot of the overgrown old shrubs and everything, just to let more light into the area here. And to suppress weeds, I will put a lot of the dead cuttings very thickly in that area as well, because that will help really to suppress all of those weeds that will poke up. So yeah, this is what I'm going to do with that, because normally here is a massive huge compost heap and everything always goes on here, but not this year. This year I'm going to utilize it a little different, and I'm really excited obviously to use it here. The first thing that I want to show you how I'm going to cut back is a Napida, because this is really easy. It's already really dried off, which makes it even easier. Sometimes it's good to wait for a nice dry day, because if things are too wet, they can be a little soggy and squishy, and then it is a little difficult sometimes to cut them. I do cut a lot of things kind of old-fashioned with my pair secateurs, but to make things even faster, and depending on how they're still looking, you can also come in with your electric hedge trimmers and just really strip it back all the way at the ground level. They started to collapse a little bit, and I have mulch in here. So if I would come in with my electric shears, sometimes what happens is the mulch might get stuck in them, and that is not so good obviously. So this is sometimes why I like it a little better like that. I collect everything in a big bucket. So this is a big planter that I'm not sure, probably EU was in here. EU or even one of the boxwood spheres that I bought. But these things always come very handy, and later on I might even use it to put in some potatoes, because I grow potatoes in here as well. So how I would do it is, like, since this started to collapse, I try to find one plant. That sounds so intelligent now, but yeah. So just try and separate them a little bit again. Try to see where a plant is. I'll just take it like this. I hope you see it, can twist it. And then I just come in here really at the base and strip everything back. And then I can just put it in my bucket. And this is all there is to it. This is such an easy job to be done. And honestly quite fast. And especially a day like this when the sun is out and it's beautiful. You're in a good mood. This is actually really nice to do things like this now this time of the year. So in a close-up again, I just come in here, take everything, because this is a bigger plant now already, twist it a little bit, because then they can't just go out anywhere again, and then quickly come and strip everything back all the way to the ground, because then all the new fresh growth can come through. And you can tell how mild the winter was actually, and how much the snow protects everything, because there are still quite some long fresh green shoots in here. This really indicates that it was a quite mild winter, which is wonderful, because I know everything survived this winter. There is definitely not a single plant to be lost. How wonderful is that? I decided to just like really talk you through bit by bit every single plant, how I'm going to prune it back, and then really do my big run by the end of the video and just really cut back everything at once. Next thing is the sedum, and sedums are dang easy. I mean, for me, they are one of the nicest and easiest perennials that you could possibly growing in your garden, because rather than a right location, which is like full sun, some varieties also cope with partly shade, to be fair. Like Stardust doesn't need to have like full sun, at least here in my garden. They don't require anything, and this is why I love sedum. They're not fuzzy, they're not difficult, they look beautiful the moment that they come out. They have this really wonderful dome shape of greenery, these rosettes forming, and I just love them. So if you're not growing any sedum, maybe now's a good time of the year to really consider and think about it. And when it comes to the cutting back, all you do is literally just get in there with your secateurs and snip it back right at the base, because otherwise those stems, they will stick out and not look really pretty. They just dry off. I mean, they just dry off, and then you can just remove them later on or next year again. It's not bad or anything. But this is why sedum, it's definitely a good plant to start your cutting back early. So it is easy, so you have easy access into the plant basically. So this is all there is. I'm going to give you a closer look again how to cut back the sedum now as well. And with a closer look now, and you can tell it's just like a couple of big stems here. This is also depending on the variety. This is a variety called Matrona, which develops a little less stems, but then each and every single stem has like multi-branches towards the top, so they still look really rich in flower. One thing you want to make sure is also that if there are any leaves or any mold or anything that's kind of like falling into the center of the plant, just get it away, and then just really get in there and strip it back basically. This is all you gotta need to do. Very fast, very easy. You can tell that last year I done it later because there's still a little bit of the old branches. Now is a good time to just remove everything, just to give it really a good fresh start. And it's also exciting actually to do it, especially on things like sedum, because you can really look around and see how the plants are developing, where you can see rosettes forming. Is the plant happy? How's it growing? So it is also a kind of intriguing thing. And you can tell this one here is growing a little bit more on this side now. There's not really anything happening here on this side, I suppose. Let's see, maybe still something is going to come. But this is also why it is quite intriguing to cut back and just inspect your plants again and really see how they look. Are they happy? Are they healthy? This is like a nice side thing, a side benefit to do. When it comes to the asters, I'm just going to show you with one variety, because in general, cutting back asters, that always is the same thing. Asters, most of them, they kind of grow from a center outwards. This is a variety called Asran, and Asran really builds runners and quite fast. So this is a plant that you might want to have an eye on, because it can be a little invasive, but I don't want to miss it, because I think it is a beautiful aster, one of my favorite. And again, you can come in quite easily actually with your electric shears and just strip at everything to the ground. I still kind of just like to do it manually, just to see really what is going on and inspect everything, and also to have like a clear cut sometimes, because on asters, the electric pruners, they might tear it apart a little bit, and I'm not so sure if that is necessarily a good thing, because now I have one clean cut, and if you strip it back with the electric trimmers, then you kind of like crack it open and you allow water and potentially fungi to get into the plant, even though I'm cutting back that material. So I think it would work, but I kind of feel a little happier with this. And I can tell, I'm going to show you in a second with the next one, they look so wonderful. A lot of fresh green growth already coming here. And I can tell you, this is the center, this is where it was last year. And I see something poking through here and there and there. So it already started spreading again, which is wonderful. Because I want to use or introduce some of these also to the slope. And then I can easily come in here later on and just take cuttings and just put it back at the slope. I'm going to make a separate video about that. But this is wonderful. This is a wonderful variety to propagate quite easily. By the way, it's wonderful in the sun for me, obviously, because it's lovely and warm. I know for the video it's not ideal and not the best, so I'm sorry about that, but bear with me, and I'm just telling you, it's wonderful in the sun. There's no wind picking up at all. It's glorious. I'm just gonna spend the entire day outside up until the sun really goes down and says bye and good night. And again, up close, so you always get to see up close again what I'm actually doing and not just in a distance. So come in with my secateurs and really, again, snip everything off all the way to the back. Always a nice clean cut, very fast, and you can tell all of this beautiful, wonderful, fresh new growth coming. And then, is it still in the frame here? Is it? Yes. So you can tell this one here comes from the plant. So there's a runner underneath here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. So beautiful. I'm gonna get so many lovely new plants. And already like the old center looks fantastic. It's a lot of new branches coming. So this will be a stunning display this year again. I'm so happy about it. That's all I'm going to show you about perennials, because generally it is the exact same thing now, over and over again. Cut back everything that looks brown and dead, and everything that still looks like nice, fresh and green, leave it. Leave it, and fingers crossed that there won't be like any cold temperatures to kill anything off. Next thing I'm going to do, I still have a little bit of amaranth here, and amaranth is an annual, so no cutting back at all, nothing easier than removing your amaranth, because all I do is I just strip it, and you can tell quite easily, I mean after winter obviously, but this is how annuals grow. You have a lot of top growth and hardly any root system. And this is how they work predominantly, because an annual focuses a lot on producing a lot of seeds to make sure that it survives, while a perennial really tries to put a lot of energy into growing a big root system, because during the winter time this is where it stores all of the energy and is really vital for a perennial to have a good root system. Not for annuals though, so this is going to be a very quick thing of me just like pulling them out, making space, and this year I'm going to put like another amaranth in here. This was a red one with green leaves, and this year I have, what was it called? Velvet carpet or something. It has red tassels and red leaves. I think this is going to be absolutely stunning in here, in two locations in the bed. Next, I want to show you how I cut back grasses, and in this border I grow three different varieties of grasses. The first one is up front here. This is Panacetum. I think it's called Red Mohican or Red Hat, something like this. I'm not 100% sure, I need to do my research. It grows really to a nice dome shape the more it matures, which is beautiful. And then I'm also growing Calamagrostis as a big drift in the border, and one Miscanthus. By the way, since it is beautiful weather, everybody obviously is doing something outside, and this is why every now and then in the audio might hear some background noise. I'm really sorry for that, but I mean, can't blame anybody. Everybody just wants to go out here and do something. So cutting back Panacetum, dang easy normally, especially when they're not so mature as this one is. In the front garden, or the midsection of the garden, I have bigger ones, a different variety, and there you really need to get in there. All I do, again, pretty much the same system on how I cut back the Nepeta, is I just get in here, kind of twist it into a bundle, try to get as much as I can, and then I just come in with my secateurs. Again, this is something a lot of people would do with electric pruners, but I just like to have a little bit of control going on here. And then just snip all the way around it. And since I kind of put it into a bundle and twist it, can't go anywhere. See, and this is all there is. So I have my bundle. I could just like bundle it up even more if I wanted to. And now it can go up into the bucket. And this is all there is to it. What I would do in the end is, when I've stripped back all of them is, but this is just me because I just like it visually. Maybe, well, I think I will do it here as well, but the more they mature, it actually has a really nice effect is. You'll have a lot of these like dead branches in here, or stems. I'm not really sure how to call them grasses. Grass stems? I still come in with my electric shears. Just trim around it just to give it a nice, really crisp dome shape, because I think that looks generally nice. But this is just me. This is not vital for the plant or anything. This is just more of an aesthetic thing. And again, up close, simply because when I watch a video, I just like to see something up close again. Because then sometimes you see even better on how it works, rather than just like an explanation. Alright, this is how it goes. Just twist it. There is a mole pile in here in the middle. Loveliness. Anyways, once everything is cut back, I need to come in here with my shovel and just remove all of the extra soil. I do not push it back in because I heard that this is apparently really bad because that just worsens the entire thing. It's better to just remove the extra soil and hope that at one point it will get better. So that's all there is. Off it is. And then obviously I will just come in and snip off all of these like tiny things here in a second as well. But this is super fast, super nice, obviously because they're not so mature yet. See, and also remove, for example, like leaves and everything that is in here. Try and make sure that nothing gets mushy and rots inside the grass. This is really important because grasses do not like to sit generally in, most of the grasses at least, in a puddle or in a wet condition or anything. I'm sitting with you right in the middle of the border actually, and here's a big drift of Calamagrostis grasses, which I love. This is a variety called Karlförster. Karlförster was like a big plantsman in Germany, like in the earlier years of the past century. Is that how you call it now? I think so. I think they're just glorious, really upright, beautiful growth, and they're quite easy to cut back. And this is a moment where I finally come in with my electric shears, because what I do generally is just like get in here quickly and see how it goes. What you can also do is tie it up if you wanted to. I'm going to do it though with a miscanthus in a moment, but I just think it's quite easy to just come in. Sorry for the sound now, I'm just going to make it together with you. And that's it. That was the entire cutting back of the grass now. I cut it back to ground level, and then I just quickly make a little bundle out of it so it goes well into my bucket. Clear up all the debris that's still lying around here, and that's it. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, I love cutting back these grasses because that is so easy. Once they're going to be bigger and more patchy, I could just really come in there and just with one big swoosh just really strip back everything. Very last thing that I want to talk you through how I cut it back is a miscanthus, and this is one that I took from a division from my garden actually. So in your back I had a massive huge clump, and last year I lifted it and divided into 4 different pieces. Trust me, that is difficult. That is really hard work, and I think lifting and dividing one miscanthus took at least an hour or an hour and a half out of me, maybe even longer, because those roots, they are the thickest mash of fibers you could possibly imagine, kind of like bamboo if you have it in your garden as well. But definitely worth growing it though. They're so beautiful, but now's a good time to really come in here, strip them back. Miscanthus is one of those grasses that comes back quite late in general. So if you grow it, and if you grow it for the first time, don't be surprised if it really takes a long time before you see fresh growth. But once it comes, it grows really fast. This is the thing about miscanthus. How I do it with this one now is I'm going to tie it. The one in the front garden I didn't tie because, on the midsection of the garden, I always say front garden because the front door is there. In the midsection of the garden because it is such a massive huge clump already. If I tie it together, I personally find it a little difficult, but up to you. Really try and figure what works best for you. I think this one is a good size to tie it together. So all I do is I come in with a nice cord. It's a very long cord actually. Should have used something smaller maybe. Try and get as many of these branches as possible. Oh well, that's gonna do the job. Okay, it's definitely better if you have a little bit of a shorter cord, so you don't want to cut this obviously. Just gonna put it in here for now. That works. And now again I come with the electric shears because this is the easiest way on how to do it. Here are, by the way, this is Phlox Goliath, beautiful variety. And now, Alfie, don't get in the way, please. Alfie, up. Alfie. Why? Here, little sticky. There you go. That works. Okay, so come with the electric shears and just strip everything back at the ground now. And that was it. Not even probably 10 seconds. Yeah, with those things, I'm always a little conscious with Alfie because I really don't. She's so intrigued in whatever I'm doing. And when I'm working with a pair of secretaries, obviously, I could just control everything a little bit better. But when I'm working with the hat shears, I really try and make sure that she's not going to get in there, obviously, because she really doesn't understand the concept of like, oh, that might be dangerous for me, right? You don't. And she's so adventurous. But yeah, this is why I'm always happy when I have sticks flying around somewhere so I can keep her busy. What I'm going to do now is basically I'll work my way through this entire area and yeah, just going to film it, put some nice music under it, and I think I'm going to manage it today. I'm pretty sure because I think like with the nice weather and everything, no wind picking up, this is not exhausting. This is just a perfect day to do it. I've made it. We're in late afternoon and I managed to get the entire project done in one day. I've been just inside for a quick lunch break and there we sit. And then for the rest of the day, which is like cutting back. I look a little scruffy, by the way, kind of like as if I've been pulled through a hedge backwards. I think this is how the saying goes, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, who cares? I'm just happy about this wonderful site. And to be fair, it kind of looks even a little more dead than to what it was looking when I started the day, because now it is just a flat pancake brown landscape. And even though I have spring bulbs in there, I mean, like if you follow my videos for quite a while, you know that I've been planting a lot of tulips. I have really a lot of tulips in their big drifts, and I've got beautiful light pale pink aquilegia in there, but all of those are going to come like in May, I suppose. So I really need to remind myself that I need to introduce something that starts the year earlier, like snowdrops or some of these beautiful iris maybe. Cyclamen would be so wonderful as well. Just find the gaps where I can put them. And this is something that I'm going to do today. I'll go inside and just start writing those things down, almost like a little garden diary, I would say. Because I can tell you, once August, September, whenever I do order my bulbs going to come, I'll forget about it. I completely forget about the fact that I want to introduce earlier spring bulbs in there because by that time, this entire area will be filled with the most glorious blooms and flowers and grasses and everything. And I'm going to think about like tulips and alliums and all those like things that I love to plant, but I always keep on forgetting about snowdrops. So this is something I really need to do, and maybe as a little idea for yourself as well. When you do projects like these or whatever garden project you do, and if you see something where you feel like, oh, I can improve it, but I can't improve it now, maybe just write it down, because when the time comes, you can just always go back there and just read about it, just as an idea. But just look at the wonderful light. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Golden, wonderful, warm sun today. I'm so happy about it. You can literally tell your mood gets immediately 10 times better after a day like this. And I'm so happy that tomorrow will be pretty much the same. What I want to do, even though there is not a lot to look at, I'm still going to flip the phone and quickly talk you through the area, because I think this is kind of like what you do at the end of a project. Just show the result. Whatever the result is, I mean, this is not like planting anything nice and I can show like, whoa, look, it looks so much better now. But still, this is what this process is about, I think. Can you hear the geese? I hope you can hear them on the audio. This is wonderful. This is the sign of spring for me. This is when I hear the geese are returning and I just love it. I love this momentum. This is always when I cut back, I have these big flocks of geese flying here. Oh, I can just raise the phone. Maybe you can see them there. Can you see it? Wonderful. I absolutely love it. So happy when this momentum of the year comes because this is when I know spring is officially on its way. Yeah, you get to see the dimensions of the entire space pretty well, I think, now. And honestly, I'm quite surprised. This is the first time, obviously, that I ever cut it back because I just planted it not even a year ago. And I thought, is it doable? Can I do it in a day? But yeah, it is. It is definitely doable. A lot of the perennials are really easy to cut back, like asters are definitely easy. And another one that I wasn't talking about are heleniums. And I just really want to give you a quick look at them because they've established so well and they look fantastic. Like when I planted these little pots of heleniums last year, there were like maybe 2, 3 of these rosettes in a pot, and look what happened. Big patches of them now, so I'm really expecting an amazing display of the heleniums this year. Couldn't be happier. And here in the back you can see this is yew. So what I intend on doing is to grow a little hedge of yew here. Not completely cut straight. I'm thinking of something a little more organic, something a little cloudy maybe. So I thought to speed up the entire process that maybe I will put like smaller yews in front as well, or in between, maybe in between those gaps that are still there. But doing something like a hedge or yew hedge, obviously this is going to take quite a while. But something to look forward to. This is always the lovely thing about gardening. It is about like the anticipation and planting something and waiting and improving. And it is kind of like a never-ending cycle. And I think this is the one thing that really excites me about it. Let's just quickly walk to the back again so I can show you where I put most of the cuttings today. So quite some cuttings went in here. So in the bottom layer, obviously. And then the rest went here in the back, like really there's the that hedge, and then there basically went more. My fingers are dirty, even though I was wearing gloves. The bottom layer, what's going to happen here actually, just as a little side information. So I still need to tackle this area, but I still need to remove the turf from here. So there's a little funny kidney shape in here. This is where I put some tulips because I thought if I remove everything, I still want to have tulips in there. So I had a drift of tulips in there and I still need to remove the turf. And that is going to go down there into the last layer where I'm going to do my veg garden. But I can tell you what I'm going to do now. I think today's the first day of the year where I'm going to sit on my bench and just enjoy the view and the lovely sunset that I'm expecting today. You guys, that is it for today's video, and guess who decided to join me on the bench here? Hello. Say hello, little missy. Yes. Oh, did you have a good day in the garden as well? Yeah? I think she had, but I still think she's crying out for a little bit of attention, to be honest. Because when I'm cutting back, there's not so much time that I can really spend with her. So my plan of sitting and enjoying the sunset, I think I'm gonna do that another day and really gonna play with her a little bit now because I feel like we have maybe like 10, 15 more minutes of sun and I really want to utilize it and just play with her a little bit because after the playing comes something different, and this is no surprise for you. Guess what happens? Somebody has black shoes again. Oh, somebody has lovely black shoes again, so somebody needs to wash the feet again today. This is a given. This is a normal thing, but whatever, that is all right. I just want to say, when it comes to cutting back, I thought about it today that this is something that I was doing throughout my entire life, actually. Even as a child, I was doing it in my parents' garden. And even there, I kind of liked it in a weird way because there's something meditative about it. Cutting back is nothing where I feel like, oh, it's one of those shitty kind of jobs where you go, oh, I need to do it, I'm forced to do it. There is something you're just resting in yourself, you do it, it's a quick project that you do, you see results very fast, and I think this is why I like it pretty much, I guess. Still a lot to come though, still I need to cut back the entire front garden, the island bed, as I said, a lot of things to come, but no worries, I'm not going to share all of this with you. I just wanted to do one video of cutting back because cutting back perennials and grasses is a big and essential part in the garden here, since there are shrubs and trees, but not that many. A lot of the borders are more of perennial borders rather than herbaceous borders, or there's like one statement shrub in there or tree in there, and that's it. So this is why I really wanted to take the time and share this moment with you. But no worries, there's a lot of other more exciting projects, I guess, on the way. So I hope that you still enjoyed today's video, that you have a great day, and I would love to welcome you in my garden very soon again. Take care, guys. Bye. Come on, Alfie, say bye. Bye.